I'm Katie. This is my 2016 Ford Transit van. It is a 148-inch wheelbase, and I built it myself. So I was in a 2016 144-inch Sprinter before this. Going from Mercedes to a Ford mostly was about cost. The Mercedes I bought brand new in 2016 had a van payment on it every month. Within renting that Sprinter and then selling it eventually, I was able to buy this one outright. I've driven a friend's ProMaster before, and I found that the clearance was not really conducive to the roads I like to go down. Performance-wise, the Sprinter was like by far the best. I mean, there's nothing really that compares to like the torque and the power behind a Sprinter. I never got stuck, or maybe I got stuck once in 3 years, and I've gotten stuck in this a handful of times. So I upgraded the tires to BF Goodrich KO2s. I also went up a size in tire than what the Transit has, so I actually took off like a little piece of metal on the inside, which allowed the turn radius. That way my tire doesn't scrape when I turn. If you can drive smart and have good tires, I think there's a lot you can do. I have exterior lights up top, which are super nice. They're on a light switch and they blast out about 50 feet, and they're on a dimmer, so it's really nice for social hangouts, but also taking my dog out at night to go like last bathroom break or whatever. I have motion windows. I installed these sliders on each side. They are great. They're tinted, and their customer service is great also. My screen got really, really dirty, and my dog kept poking her nose out, so it kind of started to come out, and I called to ask if I could purchase replacements, and they were like, bring the van on by, like we'll just put new ones in for you. So super quick, super easy. I've been really happy with those. I put them pretty high up because I didn't want anyone at street level to be able to view into the van. My last van had kind of lower windows, and I felt like that took away from privacy if I was parked in a city or something. This is the only decor I have on the outside. And then it came with the back windows. I did tint these as well, so they have a lot of privacy. Like the lights are on inside, and you can only really see the puck lights up top, but you can't actually see in, so I don't have to really worry about privacy too much in that sense. Here is the rear of the van, kind of the garage space. I have like camping gear. I have like a van build bag that has extra electrical stuff, tools, Max Tracks. Well, these are off-brand Max Tracks because they're cheaper. Something I got recently is this Go Dry. It's actually really meant for surfing, I think, but it snaps up against the outside of my van and locks. I can hang like wet towels or dog leashes and stuff outside. Humidity is a big deal, so I have 2 of these. I have one in the back and one in the front, and they're just dehumidifiers, but what I like about them is that once they fill up with water, you just plug them in and they dry themselves out, so you don't have to like replace it, you don't have to get a new one, and they're very well rated. In my last van, I had a big stationary tank that was kind of bolted down, and it required being filled from a hose with a thread, which was fine, but it just was a little more limiting. So this time I went with 4 of these 7-gallon jugs. There's a quick attached shark bite. So I use one all the way and then switch my water and use another one all the way. And that way, if I'm getting groceries and I'm not all the way out of water, I can still take 1 jug into a grocery store and fill up. For my electrical system, I have 3 100-watt Renogy solar panels up top. A 40-amp DC to DC with MPPT allows my 2 175-amp-hour lithium VMAX tanks batteries to be charged both from the alternator when I'm driving my van, but also from the solar panels from the sun. I have a big laundry chute that starts about halfway in my bed and goes to the front, and I can shove dirty laundry in there, and then when I need to, I just pull it from the back here and take it in to clean it. All right, so this is the very dirty front of the car. I have about 6 inches between the back of the seats and the partition wall, and this is where all of my bulky jackets go. And then behind it, I also have storage, so I have like my shower backpack with everything in there. I keep my window covers kind of tucked back there, camera gear, that sort of thing.
This video is sponsored by Vessi. Listen, nobody likes to walk around and step in a puddle and end up with their socks all wet. So get Vessi shoes. They're 100% waterproof, which is great for the unpredictable spring weather. And they're made from Dymatex, a material that doesn't feel like it should be waterproof, but it is. It keeps you cool in the summer and warm in the colder weather. These shoes are comfortable, durable, and they're breathable. They've got incredible grip, and they'll keep your feet warm and dry. So check out the Vessis and other styles at vessi.com/FLORB and get your Vessi sneakers in the size that you want now, and use code FLORB for 15% off your order. And remember to subscribe.
Before living on the road full-time, I had just graduated college and I was working my first full-time job. I wasn't super happy and I was looking for a change. And my partner at the time had brought up this concept of van life, living in a van and traveling. I had a lot of student debt at the time though, so I said, let's wait a year. Once I pay off X amount of dollars, we can start talking about it. And then shortly after, we bought a van and started traveling. We only planned to live in it for a year, and then we planned to sell it and kind of go back to normal life. So really went kind of full force with budget, with the expectation that we would be able to, you know, sell that and make that back at the end. Doing a second build now, I've definitely made cuts where I can. I've figured out I would rather spend less on this so I have more for this. Using space wisely, that has been a huge lesson as well. This van build I did through the winter. I started it in May and I didn't end up finishing until February. So trying to build while it is snowing or raining in Oregon was definitely different because you can't just have the van doors open all the time. So I had to be really aware of moisture and just getting things, you know, in and out of the van. There are a lot of things that you can't go back and do later. For example, once you have the walls up, you can't go back and change a lot of stuff about wiring or insulation depending on how you build. You can't put in an awning after you were to have your walls in if you have to drill through the side of the van. So like breaking the van build phase down into phases has been really helpful, and that's definitely something that I kind of drew on from my last time and also learned, focusing on electrical, focusing then on insulation, focusing then on walls and ceiling and floor. So just step by step. I bought this van, it's 2016, and it had about under 30,000 miles on it, and I paid $27,000 for it. The van build, I have about 22,000 into it, give or take. But that also includes brand new bedding, all new pots and pans, all my kitchenware, like everything to get this van moving, ready, hit the road, go. The partition wall has a pocket door. This stays open most of the time. And it is insulated on the inside. It's rigid foam board, so it really, really makes a difference with temperature control when the door is actually shut. Having hooks for keys, dog accessories has been like really big. Underneath the passenger seat is the S-Bar B4L heater. It vents out here and it is tapped into my gas tank. Ford's gas tanks actually have a tap already in there, so I just had to buy an accessory from the dealer, and then I was able to run the wire, the fuel line, and the electrical wire for power. It has a thermostat. It's really nice, especially when having a dog in the cold. Above the partition is a headliner shelf. This is an RB Components headliner shelf for the Transit. So this storage, you can see I have it filled to the brim, goes all the way to the front. I have like an Instant Pot in there, extra towels, my vacuum. This is my prized possession, my Dyson. This thing is amazing. It has a bunch of different attachments and it is way better than having to sweep all the time. I keep all my toiletries here for quick grab and go, and then more hooks to hang things usually when it's raining out and I can hang it up to dry there. Above the fridge, I put this lip in here, and there's, as you can see, a bunch of storage up there. So all my oils, hot sauces. I have a Dometic CRX 110S fridge. I like this fridge a lot because it has the freezer. I can keep ice cubes in there. I can like put ice cream, popsicles, freeze dog food, whatever I want. So all the cabinets are plycore laminate. I have a buddy who has a cabinet shop in Beaverton, cut all of the materials on the CNC. For the locks, I went with these sailboat locks. This is my garbage. I didn't want a garbage can that was moved around a lot and that I was just living around, so it's very long, skinny. I have my garbage, and it also perfectly fits a box of wine right there. My stove and oven is also Dometic. This is a 3-burner propane stove. Each of the burners is like a different size, which is really nice. I got a refillable propane tank. It's 11 pounds. I'm using it every day. Lasts me 4 to 5 months. I really wanted to have enough counter space, especially when I'm cooking. So between this and then this cover for the sink, I also have this pull out, which is great. I can have a rice cooker or an Instant Pot. When I'm doing dishes, I can have them dry here. I went for a smaller but deeper sink. I found that that is kind of the best use of space, especially when you do gray water underneath. There's a lot of lost space between the sink and the gray water. The faucet, I have the pull down, which is great for doing dishes and saving water. And then I also have this secondary for drinking water, which is attached to a filter system. Again, one of these 7-gallon jugs for the gray water. I just went with a straight down drain. It's not very pretty, but again, it functions really well. I think I use actually blue toilet drop-in things to help keep the scent in. I wanted my spice rack kind of up in an area of empty space that often gets wasted. And then I have a magnetic knife strip. Maybe if I hit a bump really hard, one will fall, but I just have the covers on the knives. And again, it's a really quick and easy just grab and go. All of the windows in the van have window covers made by Van Made Gear. They are very high quality. They do their job very well, but also the material on the outside is like a canvas, so they don't suck in any moisture, which is extremely important to me. Magaster fan. Usually when I need some sort of circulation or if I'm cooking, I open one of my back sliders and pull out there, and it gives a really nice breeze to the whole van. Underneath the bed in the front, I have 3 drawers used for different storage, but they're very long and they're very deep, which is great. My bed is a little bit bigger than a queen. It's almost a king. It's just got some odd and end shapes because I made these bump outs. And then in the back, I have those pillars. So it's wider than a queen and longer than a queen, but not quite a king. I have 2 3-inch mattress foam toppers in here. Instead of paying for a custom mattress or trying to get something that was really thick, I created these bump outs, and they basically give me about 6 or 7 inches more on each side of the van. My feet can kind of slip under there. Indy can kind of lean her back against there and sleep under there. But then it also provided room for these storage little units that I have. I have one on each side. And then I also have a lip for, putting a cup of anything there or using it for a beverage. Inside of the cubbies, there's a 4-port USB system there too. So that's really useful for plugging in phones, hotspots, projector, all of that stuff. One more thing that I do want to add is my movie screen. This is a window shade from Lowe's. I have a Nebula projector that's really small, and I just put this on a tripod and I can project a movie, which is great. I use it a lot. This is an indoor fan that I have. It swivels a bunch of different ways, which is great. It also is wired on a timer, so if I want to do that, I can. I have a little bookshelf here, which is nice. My upper cabinets are packed with clothes, so don't judge me. I have 4 of these, which is great. I don't have to really worry too much about switching out seasonal, and I have plenty more than I need. The upper cabinets all have this flush LED light system there. So all of those are on a dimmer, which is really nice, especially at night when I'm trying to kind of control lighting. Back upper shelf, again, just kind of used for storage. On the left side, there are 2 110 outlets, so I can plug in my laptop and my iPad, and I can just kind of put them up there when they're charging. And then on the right, there are 4 more USB ports. This is how you open the laundry chute. Dirty underwear and socks right there for proof. This bench has a cushion, so I can sit on it. When I remove it, this pops up to be a toilet. So this is the Airhead composting toilet. The reason I went with the Airhead is because it actually has a flat back. So a lot of the other toilets, or even the Airhead, there is a version that's just all the way around, but I didn't want to sacrifice that 4 inches of space. So I went with one that was flat back, save that space. And then in here I keep some cleaning supplies, a toilet paper roll. Down here is control for the inverter. So I have a Renogy 2000 watt inverter, and there is a table attachment that has a Lagoon table that swivels, so I can use it as an actual workstation. But then under here, I have shoe storage as well. A lot of shoes shoved in there, not very nice and neat. But that's really handy. I don't have to have a basket. I don't have to have those kind of moving around anywhere. They're just kind of there and contained. I think one of the biggest things that I don't feel like is talked about as much with building a DIY van is that it's going to look like you didn't do anything for 80% of the build, because there's so much behind the scenes stuff of wiring and insulation. And once you finally get something big like your cabinets or your bed platform or a bench in, that will feel so triumphant, and it's such a physical thing that you can see, but it's going to come so much further down the line than you think. But holding on to some of those big milestones will help you. And trying to remember, why are you doing this? What's your end goal? If it's a van to travel, think about all the things you're going to be able to do. If it's to move into a tiny home, to own your own home for the first time, focusing on that goal is going to help a lot too.